Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Let's Book It. I am Dave, and I am joined by my co-host,
James.
Yeah, and on today's show, we are going to be booking The Undertaker at Wrestlemania 30, and we both have some unique ideas, two very different paths.
Yes.
And so, that's what's going on today's show.
Well, yeah, I think it's a popular thing that people like to talk about. Every WrestleMania season, who's Taker going to face? And we're going to completely ignore what we see on television, and we're going to take it right from the Chamber pay-per-view.
Right.
Okay.
So here's how we would book Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. The streak.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically become a championship at WrestleMania.
It's almost as... It's the reason you watch WrestleMania now. Let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely. It's gotten to the point where somebody challenging The Undertaker to the streak gets just as much attention and prestige as the guy who won the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And is main eventing.
Well, I'm still waiting for the day, I know you and I have talked about this, where the winner of the Rumble says, no way, I'm not going to face for the title, I want The Undertaker.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I thought, this is just... since we're starting on February 24th, that's the Raw that we're beginning to kick off the Undertaker storyline.
Yes.
I can just throw this in here. I've always thought that since, especially now that they've unified the titles, that, okay, the winner of the Royal Rumble goes after the championship, the winner of the Elimination Chamber fights The Undertaker.
Ooh, that would be good.
And, the people that I've said that to talk about it, they're like, well, no, why would anybody want to put themselves through that to face The Undertaker? All this
Look
stuff.
at the prestige that comes with it. The possibility of being immortalized by defeating The Undertaker.
Right. The people that have a problem with it are the people that also complain, like, legitimately about the fact that The Undertaker is, approaching 50 years old, falling apart, and they have a problem with it. I look at it from, like, a character standpoint and, like, a WWE universe standpoint, where The Undertaker is this, paranormal entity that cannot be defeated at WrestleMania.
Right. He still is what he is in the world of the WWE.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, that's been my idea. And that's almost to the point where it's at, where facing The Undertaker is basically a championship match.
Look, if I was in the locker room and I had to choose between facing the champion and facing The Undertaker at WrestleMania, considering The Undertaker's age...
Right, exactly. At this point,
you take The Undertaker.
Right, because you don't know how much you don't know if you're ever going to have that opportunity again.
Exactly.
Especially now that he's wrestling once a year. Mm-hmm. It's... Any WrestleMania could be his last.
Exactly.
Though I do think whatever ends up being his last WrestleMania, we should know it's going to be his last WrestleMania a year in advance.
You think so?
I think so. Because we knew it was going to be Rock Cena a year in advance. And they spent the entire year hyping that. And I think The Undertaker has earned that, that same...
regard. That same prestige.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where, he can come out the Raw following WrestleMania 30 and in some Undertaker way say, WrestleMania 31 is my last WrestleMania.
Let the battle begin.
Yeah, let the games begin. I'm going to let you guys fight it out to see who faces me.
Right.
And then you spend the entire year building up to the Undertaker's final match. That's my thing. So there's a lot of people being like, "Oh, he's facing Lesnar this year," because we're recording this on Tuesday, so we saw what actually happened on February 24th. And there's a lot of people. There's rumors, like there is always every year that
there's always a rumor about this person and that person,
right? That this might actually be the Undertaker's final WrestleMania because it's in New Orleans. It's WrestleMania 30. It's a nice round number. Paul Bearer is rumored to go into the Hall of Fame. There's all these things that are lining up that people are saying like, oh yeah, this is probably going to be his last one. It could be. I think it could have been.
I think that due to his limited schedule, though, he could go to 25 so long as he takes care of himself and he works with the right people.
Exactly. So there are those rumors, but I personally think that we will know. I think that's too much of a draw. It's too much of a draw to be like to let go. Because if you announce this is going to be the Undertaker's final WrestleMania, you're going to want as much hype to get those viewers that you could possibly want. Okay, so that's our little rant about the Undertaker. So yeah, let's book it.
Okay, all
Let's
right.
book it.
So
See,
who's going first?
I worked in the title of the show.
You did.
See, that's why we chose that name.
Let's
book it.
So let's book it.
Let's book it. Who wants to go? How about I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go because you've written a novel about. I feel very inadequate. Usually I feel good about like my approach to wrestling ideas and. I've been complimented on having all these ideas and all these different things.
And you do. You have great ideas.
Thank you. I wrote 1 page of notes on how to book my Undertaker idea. James has 3 pages.
You've seen me work, though. I get very detailed.
You did, and you spaced them.
I did.
I spaced them too, but you... Okay.
Double spacing. It's how I got through school.
Exactly. So, yeah. What was I going to say? I don't know. I'll go first.
Alrighty.
All right.
Hit me with it.
Hit me with your best shot. No, we don't own that music. Okay. So here we go. Mm-hmm. February 24th.
All right. Set the stage.
Night after Elimination Chamber.
I like the mood you're doing already.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would hype at the very top of the show on the pre-show because the network just launched.
Uh-huh.
Okay? I would hype on the pre-show and then again at the beginning of Raw. The Undertaker is making his return tonight.
So you would come right out and hype
I'd come right out and say it.
Okay.
The Undertaker is making his return tonight. On the pre-show, at the top of Raw. This way, everybody who's not watching Raw sees on Twitter, sees on Facebook, all these... The Undertaker's coming back tonight. Draw in the viewers. Everybody knows, pretty much, when he's going to show up. I mean, it's the formula of,
He's going to show up in the third hour.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the formula of the pro wrestling show in 2014.
Right.
So... It's the end of Raw. Lights go out. He's finally here. Gong. Slowly makes his entrance out. Full garb, whatever it is. Gets into the ring. Lights come up. Crowd's cheering. Yeah. He goes and grabs a microphone. He's handed a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
He lifts it up. He goes to speak. Wyatt family intro.
Ooh.
Before he even gets a word out. Now picture what would happen with that. Because you get the pop of Taker coming out, making his return.
Lights are up. People are chanting.
Yeah, Taker, welcome back, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And just when this dude goes to say the first words he's spoken...
You get that sheet mask.
Right? You get that sheet mask out of nowhere. And, dun, 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 dun. Now imagine Taker turning towards the entranceway, like this look of, like, shock. That he's being interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
All these things. And I'd bring... The Wyatts come down. They come down. Bray leading the way with his lantern. I'd skip the rocking chair bit. I don't think it's needed. Plus, the Undertaker just made his entrance.
Right.
I think that also... looking at it from a logical standpoint, if you're in the audience and you see them setting up that rocking chair, they're coming out.
Yeah.
So
I've seen them, though, at live shows where the one guy in the back drags it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, he drags it.
Oh, that's
sick. I think I was at the Barclays, and he, dragged the rocking chair behind him.
Oh, that's cool. I like that a lot better. So anyway, they enter the ring. I'd say they all jump up on the apron, Bray in the center. Bray motions for Harper and Rowan to get back down on the floor. Bray enters the ring alone. Walks right up to the Undertaker. Face to face. Nose to nose. Bray's smiling, doing his whole,
right,
devilish grinning and all that stuff. He starts babbling. During all this, Bray eventually turns and glances at the WrestleMania sign and stays fixated. Undertaker then slowly turns, looks at the WrestleMania sign. Crowd starts going, nuts.
Yeah.
It's the same thing they did. They've done that simple glance with Triple H. All these.
They do it with everybody,
right? Then they eventually turn. They face each other again. Bray reaches back and slaps the Undertaker right across the face. Starts laughing. All these different things. Undertaker does his quick turn shot, glance that he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's in complete shock. Then I'd actually have the two of them facing off. Building this,
tension,
this tension,
this
things that are about to boil over, and I'd have the Undertaker smile.
Ooh,
yeah, the Undertaker smile, sort of like a, he can't believe Bray, one, interrupted him, and two, just smacked him.
Uh-huh.
and Undertaker knows the ass kicking that Bray is about to receive. So it's that sort of thing. But Bray has his arms outstretched. He's welcoming it. He knows he's probably going to get his ass kicked. He loves the attention the Undertaker's giving him. He's feeding off the crowd. Undertaker does the cutthroat taunt, out of nowhere. Grabs Bray by the throat. As he grabs him by the throat, they back up in the ring to the ropes. Just, crowd pops. The Wyatts reach to the bottom of the ropes, grab Bray, pull him out of the ring.
Okay.
So, went for the chokeslam, didn't get it. Undertaker's in the ring. Wyatt's down on the ground. You end Monday Night Raw with Taker in the ring, staring a hole through the Wyatt family.
Right.
Who's on the ramp. And you could have Bray, really cool moment. You could have Rowan and Harper carrying Bray up the ramp as Bray is fighting to get back to the Undertaker, to get back to getting his ass kicked. He welcomes it. Yeah, he welcomes it. He's not aggressively fighting against his family, but he's reaching out to the Undertaker.
Right.
Saying something slightly biblical. Set me free. I welcome your reaping. Something like
Something very Bray Wyatt.
Right, something very Bray Wyatt. So that's how Monday Night Raw ends.
Okay.
All right. Now, we should throw this out right now. You and I don't know if you booked SmackDowns. Did you end up booking SmackDowns in your idea?
No, because we've discussed, if the WWE doesn't care about SmackDown, neither do we.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, I leave out SmackDowns completely in this. If you have to come up with something that's going on at SmackDown, video recaps and Bray Wyatt every now and then.
There you go.
Saying something.
Like Dolph Ziggler jobs out to somebody.
Exactly. So there's your SmackDown. Week number 2. This would be March 3rd. Bray delivers a promo on The Undertaker. In the ring. Says something Bray Wyatt-ish. Something along the lines of, he's not afraid of bedtime stories. The Undertaker, the demons, all this stuff. He's worse than the Boogeyman.
Right.
All these different things. Okay, so that's all I would do for week 2. Week 3, The Undertaker have the Wyatt family destroy Los Matadores in a match. Or, whoever.
Los Matadores.
3MB, somebody.
Do you do the Sister Abigail to El Torito?
Yeah, hopefully.
You're going to whip him out of the ring.
And then I'd have Taker show up on the screen, not in front of the live people, and have him address Bray Wyatt. Have him talk about something, Undertaker. Your end is coming. You made a mistake. How dare you? Overstep your boundaries. All this stuff. What I would actually start doing this in the second week is I would begin morphing the dead man portion of Undertaker's character with the American Badass Big Evil version, where he's still the dead man and still the guy who enters with the gong and all this stuff, but it's no longer the yes and I will. The guy is talking.
Right.
It's not the long pauses. There still is some reserved, you want to phenomish.
Right.
But this guy's able to hold a conversation with Bray Wyatt. Because here's the thing. I'm picturing these two guys talking about each other.
Uh-huh.
And while I think the characters as they stand right now will match up good together, I don't think the vocal promos quality would sound good bouncing off each other. Only because you have Bray who rambles and rants and, throws out these awesome...
his promos are great.
Right. But he throws out these awesome catchphrases that you remember and stand out. And then you got The Undertaker who takes a long time with his pauses and stuff like that. And while it's great, I don't think against a guy like Bray Wyatt, that's the right way to go.
So that's where your infusion of the badass comes from, to just let him kind of...
Yeah, let him talk,
Take the reins off of, so to speak, speak.
Right. And I wouldn't have to be saying, you're standing in my yard, boy, and all that stuff. I'm going to make you famous. None of that stuff. but it's
so you're not going to call back to any of that, but you're just going to let him.
I'm just going to let him. Almost the way if you watch the WWE DVDs, like Taker talks on those DVDs now, like the Triple H DVD, right? He shows up on these things. That just reserved badass who happens to be dead. Yeah. Like that's where I would go for this. Anyway, Undertaker shows up. He says, "You will fall one by one, Bray Wyatt, and in the end, I'm gonna get you." And I would introduce that at WrestleMania, the Undertaker is planning to bury Bray Wyatt alive. So it is going to be a buried alive match at WrestleMania. That's how it end Raw. Or not end Raw, that would be the segment for Raw. The next week, this is week number 4, which would be March 17th.
Okay.
I'd have the Wyatts attack Kane. I bring Kane out to the ring, have Kane, talking, being a heel against Daniel Bryan, doing something with the authority, yada, yada, yada. Kane is eventually alone in the ring, somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. And he is a heel.
Right.
Because I think as long as we keep Kane heel, people won't expect suddenly Sheep Mask and the Wyatts coming out there.
Right.
So the Wyatts enter, do that little sheep mask. Now, when the sheep mask happens, the lights go out, and when they come back on, they're usually standing in the ring or on the apron surrounding the guys. When this happens, sheep mask, lights go out, lights come on. I'd have Bray on the apron. I'd have Luke Harper on the apron, but on the stage, I'd have Eric Rowan with Undertaker holding him by the throat. So whatever entrance that they were about to make, Undertaker was ready for it. Had grabbed Rowan by the throat and is now holding him there. So you have this moment of the lights coming on, Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper getting ready to attack Kane, and all of a sudden them realizing that Eric Rowan is
not there.
They look towards the stage, and there's the Undertaker, with his phenom glare, pissed as all can be, grabbing Eric Rowan. He has the, sheet mask on. He's going nuts, choking him. Luke Harper goes to exit the ring to, run up the ramp. Bray Wyatt stops him. And just sort of looking at the situation in wonderment. Mm. Almost like a let it happen moment. Taker takes his cue, choke slams Eric Rowan off the stage to the outside through some production equipment, a table.
You got some sparks going on.
Whatever happens to be out there. Now, I would make this be the first time ever we see Bray Wyatt not afraid, but flinch, where it's almost like
somebody actually called his bluff.
It's not necessarily somebody called his bluff, because I think he doesn't tell a bluff.
Okay.
But it's a visualization that he maybe wasn't ready for. He wasn't ready to see his family member, his follower, chokeslammed off the stage. And I'm not saying that Bray Wyatt gets scared or angry or anything like that, but just this moment of uncertainty with Bray Wyatt. So that's what I'd do. Taker chokeslams Bray Wyatt off the stage. I'd have security, paramedics, referees rush out as Taker stays, stone-faced, glancing at Bray. Eventually Triple H comes out. I'd have him order Undertaker to the back. So Taker goes to the back, all these different things. Commercial break. You can recap that throughout the entire show. The next week on Raw, this is week number 5, which would be March 24th. I'd have Bray deliver another promo on The Undertaker about how he welcomes the sacrifices that his followers need to take. I'd have Luke Harper speak up, because he's been talking every now and then. Mm. Have him talk about how he's ready, if he has to be
the next
the next, he's completely fine with it. So I would do Bray versus Kane that week, as Kane being like, you tried to kick my ass, I want you in a match.
Right.
Again, Undertaker outsmarts Bray Wyatt, because during their entrance, Eric Rowan's no one to be seen. Eric Rowan is...
So he's... Okay.
He's on the shelf. He's, mentioned, and put that over. Put over the fact that Rowan is not able to be out there. Usual entrance, the Wyatts making their way down to the ring. But except it's just Luke Harper and Bray. Bray sits in his rocking chair. Lights go on. The Undertaker is standing behind Bray, right next to Luke Harper.
Oh, jeez.
So he's taken that place of Eric Rowan,
right
where he would be. Lights go on. Bray Wyatt sitting in his chair, staring at Kane. You got that pop, that visual pop of Undertaker standing right next to Luke Harper, and then not noticing it.
Ugh, that's a good visual.
Harper slowly turns, realizes what's going on. As soon as he realizes, Kane grabs him and starts dragging him to the back. As he starts dragging him to the back, Bray realizes what's going on behind him. He gets up and turns, but Kane is already down on the floor, grabs Bray Wyatt, throws him in the ring. So as you got Luke Harper getting dragged back to the backstage area by the Undertaker.
Okay.
You got the match going on with Bray versus Kane.
Okay.
I'd have Bray defeat Kane. Eventually hits Sister Abigail.
Right.
Okay? He sits in the ring. He realizes he's alone. Lights go out. Lights go on. There's a sheet mask in the ring. Bray picks up the sheet mask, starts laughing, smiling, devilishly grinning, whatever he might have to do. Put over just this. He is getting as much joy out of it as the fans are.
Right.
In some sick, twisted way, he likes what he's bringing out of The Undertaker.
Okay.
He can deliver an after match promo, whatever it may be. Next week, the 6th. Now, this is the go-home show. After this, it's WrestleMania. So
this is the 31st.
This is the 31st.
Okay.
Harper and Rowan return. They call it The Undertaker. All three of them come to the ring. Bray can finally say, I welcome you to, face me one-on-one before our, our match, whatever it might be. Lights out. Lights on. Taker's in the ring. And he had tried to, appear behind them and, get the upper hand again, play another mind game, except now the Wyatts are on the apron. So as soon as the lights went out, they escaped to the outside on the apron. Lights came on, and now the Undertaker's trapped. Rowan, the Wyatts slowly come in. You got a 3-on-1 beating. Eventually, Taker, throws Harper over the top rope, throws Rowan over the top rope, and then you just got Bray and Undertaker just start punching the hell out of each other, brawling.
You've got notes.
Bray, thank you. Bray goes for Sister Abigail.
Mm.
Taker escapes. Goes to chokeslam him.
Mm.
Bray Wyatt escapes. Bray Wyatt escapes to the outside. Starts walking up the ramp. He's saying something. We'll see you on Sunday. All the stuff they gather on the ramp. So you had a bit of a brawl. You made the crowd happy. But they're saving it for WrestleMania. Okay, WrestleMania. We're here. Here we are.
Okay.
Buried Alive match.
I like it.
All out brawl. I'd have Kane use his power of being whatever
director of operations, right?
Yeah, something like that. Some director of the authority, something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever his title is, he basically says Harper and Rowan are banned from ringside. If they get involved, he will fire them. It's going to be Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker one-on-one. All-out brawl. Two of them fighting. Eventually they fight towards the grave. There's a big, dump truck, whatever, ready to dump all the dirt on him.
Right.
Undertaker defeats Bray. Slams him into the grave. Signals for the truck to start dumping the dirt. Everybody's cheering. The streak is intact.
Yay!
Okay? You can even do something with, during the choke slam, it's, the same way. Yeah, exactly. He puts his arms out.
Bray Wyatt has his arms out like, do it.
Bray Wyatt knows, he put up a fight, but he knows the same way that, like, Ric Flair knew he was going to lose his WrestleMania match to Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels knew he was going to lose his match to The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt knows he's going to lose this match to The Undertaker because he has him beat. But, and Bray embraces it, completely. He wants this moment. He wants,
He wants to be remembered.
He wants to be remembered. He wants to bring out this darkness. He wants to, feel the wrath of the Undertaker.
And if that were to happen in real life, you could have the character of Bray Wyatt actually take on a martyr persona when he makes his return.
Right. Yeah, there you go. So Bray gets chokeslammed into that grave. Undertaker cues the dirt to start pouring into the grave. Dirt pours into the grave. Taker gong hit. The streak is intact. He kneels in front of the grave. He poses, all this stuff. Everyone's happy. But then I would suddenly have Bray Wyatt emerge from the dirt, grab the Undertaker around the waist, and pull him down into the grave as the dump truck continues to pour dirt into the grave. So therefore you were burying both the Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. And I would end that segment with a sheet mask. So that in the end, the Undertaker streak is intact. However, you can argue that Bray Wyatt had the last stand. Had the last laugh.
Yeah. And you also put over Bray, too.
Right. And you've also put over Bray, too, as this, like, it's my Jason Goes to Hell moment.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of Jason Goes to Hell, the hockey mask is on the ground. And all of a sudden you have Freddy Krueger come up and you grab the mask and pull the mask down.
Yeah.
That's what I'm envisioning. This moment that it's Jason popping out of the water at the end of Friday the 13th.
Right.
Of he's things are over.
The monster's still alive.
Right. The monster's still alive. Comes up, grabs Taker, pulls him down. You can have Taker fighting like he's never fought before. I don't think you've ever seen Undertaker get pulled down into
like that.
A grave.
That's usually his thing.
Right. Or through the ring, like whenever he's the one that pops up through the ring and pulls people down.
Yeah.
But you can have him screaming and all this stuff. Bray pulls him down. That writes off Undertaker for a year. That gives Bray Wyatt a nice jumping off point for when he makes his return, like you said, a martyr.
Sure does.
That's a great thing. He can talk about how him and Undertaker dined with the devil. Like some weird Bray Wyatt thing. It's just a really cool visual. WrestleMania 30. You keep the Undertaker streak intact because, in my opinion, you're never going to have, as it stands right now, you're never going to have another Undertaker streak. At least you don't know if you ever are going to have one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's earned the right to retire with it intact. So
absolutely,
that is my my booking for WrestleMania 30.
Consider it booked.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me take a swig of my coffee here.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to do it too.
Oh, it's so good.
Thanks. All right, so we just heard my idea. Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. Undertaker streak intact.
Pretty damn impressive, if I do say so myself.
I don't know if it's impressive, but it's what would entertain me. Let's put it that way.
Well, there are some people who hopefully listen to this and feel that that would have entertained me too.
Right, and I definitely think that it's a good skeleton. I'm sure, my belief...
Well, of course. I mean, we left out SmackDown, for God's sakes.
Yeah, exactly. And main event.
Oh,
no. It's my belief that with any creative idea, and I think wrestling booking specifically, one mind should be steering the ship, but, more minds... make sure the path is the right path to take.
Well, exactly. It's a lot like this podcast. You are steering the ship. I swab the deck. I take care of the ropes and the sails and all the other stuff.
So, yeah. So, yeah. You work for me.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
No. I don't say I work for you.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But you've got a pretty good direction.
All right.
You're steering the ship.
All right. So.
All right.
It's now... your turn, James, to talk about how you would book The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30, beginning with February 24th, the day the network launches.
That's right.
The day following the Elimination Chamber.
Yep, right.
Everybody is watching. Hulk Hogan is making his return.
You're really building it up, aren't you?
I'm really building it up. And to kick off the journey of The Undertaker to WrestleMania 30, you would book what?
Well, I would book The Undertaker versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 30.
Okay.
I would.
Right.
And here we go. Now, unlike yours, I didn't put exactly whether or not things close out the show, but I can imagine that a lot of these things probably would.
Okay.
Or be, very considerable parts of the broadcast.
Okay.
So, let's do it. Raw, February 24th. The Shield, after having been defeated by the Wyatts, they begin to crumble from within, as we're watching on television right now.
Right.
While confronting Ambrose in the ring, though, as to his whereabouts during the Chamber pay-per-view, the other members of the Shield, Reigns and Rollins, everybody's getting a little testy. Ambrose isn't really giving good answers, and as the argument heightens, the gong sounds.
Okay.
Taker comes down, and the Shield have to quickly regroup from their argument, okay? And Taker is there to pay them back for the attack that they gave him months ago by writing him off television.
Right.
Putting him through the table, the whole thing. So Taker comes out, he takes out Seth Rollins, Ambrose flees, and it leaves Reigns to face The Undertaker alone. They brawl, and Taker gets the upper hand as Reigns gets knocked out of the ring. He picks up Rollins and heads back up the ramp as Taker does his thing in the ring. Everybody's happy that he's back. Undertaker, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And we close out the show with Taker in the ring, triumphant, while Reigns pretty much is carrying Seth Rollins up the ramp. Or through the crowd, because we don't want to allege that the Shield has found the ramp nowadays.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason.
So, okay, that's my quick reintroduction of The Undertaker to the world.
Okay.
All right, so the next week, March 3rd, we have the Shield come out, and Ambrose is the mouthpiece, of course. He demands that The Undertaker show himself. Taker's a no-show. Ambrose badmouths The Undertaker and basically says he doesn't need Rollins or Reigns to defeat The Undertaker. Ambrose himself challenges The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30, and Reigns and Rollins are, of course, very, very upset at that. So we have Reigns grab the mic and say, no, we challenge The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. So the Shield leaves, and we have a little backstage segment where Ambrose is actually caught speaking with Triple H backstage.
Okay.
And later on that evening, the Shield is ordered to do a beatdown on Triple H's WrestleMania 30 opponent, Daniel Bryan.
So we don't see what Dean Ambrose and Triple H are talking about.
No.
We just see them.
You see them conversing in a corner. I would like the WWE to adopt the TNA angle of doing the backstage stuff. Yeah, that would be really great. That would be a great moment to start that actually. But they're pretty much ordered to beat down Daniel Bryan, and they do. They beat him down. They beat him down pretty bad, and we do the big triple power bomb, the whole thing. Ambrose starts being a little overzealous with his beatings at this point. And then we have, Taker's a no-show on March 3rd. No-show. Basically, you had the open challenge from Ambrose and then the Shield saying we want Taker at WrestleMania 30. He's a no-show. So we got Raw, March 10th. The Shield demand an answer from The Undertaker. They're placed in a handicap match with Daniel Bryan. Poor guy. Sounds like what usually happens to Daniel Bryan.
Right.
But Daniel Bryan heroically fights them off as best as he can, but is again just mauled by the Shield. Ambrose continues to be overtly aggressive, hitting him with whatever he can find, taking it outside. Rollins in my storyline is kind of like a lackey. I like Rollins, I do, but for my intents and purposes, he's kind of just a follower and a lackey and
right,
that sort of thing.
I mean, I personally think Rollins is probably might end up being the most talented one.
Yeah, his in-ring work is great.
Right. But yeah, that's his current position. I call him Seth, hey, I'm here too, Rollins. Because everyone always talks about Ambrose, and they always talk about Reigns.
Yeah, it's me too, guys.
Hey, I'm here.
But, Ambrose takes it outside, and he's going nuts on Daniel Bryan, and it's so bad to the point where Reigns actually pulls Ambrose off of him, pretty much saying he's had enough.
Okay.
And Ambrose goes after Daniel Bryan again, and before Reigns can even stop him, The gong hits.
Nice.
Lights go out. Taker actually makes the save. All right. Rollins is taken out first. Ambrose is chokeslammed.
So he's coming. He's coming down to the ring.
He's already there. Lights go out.
Okay.
Ding.
Yep. Got you.
Taker's there.
Got you.
Ambrose is chokeslammed. Rollins is taken out pretty easily. Again, he's lucky. But Reigns actually stares down the Undertaker now. Taker brawls with Reigns, and Reigns gets tombstoned. And Ambrose gets up, attacks the Undertaker. Ambrose is given the last ride through the Spanish announce table. Because every time I do this show, that poor announce table will be used. So Ambrose is given the last ride through the Spanish announce table.
Okay.
And afterwards, Taker holds up 3 fingers and brings one down. So that there's only 2 left.
Right.
Lights go out, Taker's gone.
Nice.
End of segment. Or end of Raw. However you want to book it.
That would close Raw.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Alrighty. So we got Raw, March 17th. Isn't that St. Patrick's Day?
It might be.
All right.
You want to do a Finley run-in?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Alrighty. We start off Raw with Daniel Bryan confronting Triple H about the Shield. Triple H claims, I'm not controlling them, but maybe you should take the hint. Shield come out, and they circle the ring. Triple H pedigrees Daniel Bryan while he's distracted by the Shield. Triple H gives the order to attack. Ambrose and Rollins attack, and Reigns just stands there. Triple H orders Reigns to attack him. He doesn't. So Triple H is staring down Roman Reigns. Reigns goes over and rips Ambrose and Rollins off of Daniel Bryan. He stares Ambrose and Rollins out of the ring. Basically the whole get out.
Right.
And they actually do. Reigns grabs a mic and he tells Triple H, "We aren't your attack dogs anymore." And Daniel Bryan gives a running knee right to the face of Triple H. Big pop. Yes, yes, yes. People are loving it. That ends that segment. And then backstage we get the Shield arguing amongst each other. It's very, very, very one-sided. We'll have Reigns on one side and Ambrose and Rollins on the other, just going at it. Triple H then orders a Reigns versus Daniel Bryan match. Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan's the main event, Raw, that evening. The match happens. It's evenly contested. The Shield come to ringside. Reigns waves them off. "No, I don't need you guys. Let me handle this." Daniel Bryan gains the upper hand towards the end of the match. Ambrose and Rollins jump in, and they attack him. And Reigns is kind of out of it right now, and Daniel Bryan is again mercilessly beaten by these two. And Reigns again comes to and rips them off of Daniel Bryan. Ambrose actually attacks Reigns first. Rollins and Ambrose end up getting speared just because I love the move.
Okay.
So
I love the what's it? You fall back and you send the guy flying.
Oh yeah.
What is that called? I can't even think of the name of it. But I love that move. Poison Mist. I like that move too. There you go. That's a cheap move that you can throw in there that I'll pop every single time.
I'm flying a mile a minute with mine. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast.
See, what you don't know is I'm going to edit this. So there's a visual text on the screen. So everybody that's listening to this right now has like a week by week.
Ooh, I like it.
Right.
I like it.
Thing right up there on their screen.
All right. So Roman Reigns rips them off of Daniel Bryan. They attack him. Reigns ends up getting the upper hand. He spears both of them, and when they're down, and he does his "ooh-ah" thing, his war cry, I guess.
Tarzan.
Yeah. So as he's in the middle of that, the lights go out.
Nice.
And there's a gong, and Taker appears in the ring. Reigns is on one side, Taker's on the other, and in front of Taker, you've got Ambrose and Rollins on the ground. So Reigns does nothing. As Taker picks up Rollins, tombstones him. Stare down each other. Reigns still does nothing. He picks up Ambrose. Same thing, tombstone. Nothing. So now Ambrose and Rollins are laying side by side in the middle of the ring. And they do a big stare down. Lights go out. Gong. Taker's gone. End of Raw. But the two of them are on the middle of the ring, their hands over their hearts, like they've been done, over with.
Gotcha.
And we can even have going back to the whole finger thing before the lights go out. Taker goes one,
right,
one left,
points at him,
yeah,
turns into the cutthroat, something like that.
Gong, done.
There you go.
So we still don't even have a solid match set for WrestleMania.
I noticed. You haven't officially announced.
No, I haven't. And I've waited until March 24th.
It's 1 month. 1 month of build.
Yep. So, Taker comes out to answer the challenge. Basically says that the Shield is not worthy.
Okay.
Not worthy. As a unit, they are not worthy. But one in the Shield is worthy. He calls
Seth Rollins.
No. Hey, I'm here too. It's me, Mom. No, he says that one in the Shield is worthy. And he calls out Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns comes out from the crowd, alone.
Okay.
Taker says that he sees greatness in Reigns. And that the greatness that he possesses and what he could become. He sees something inside him worthy enough. And Taker basically says that he's tired. He's tired of rising every year, whether called upon or not, to defend his streak and his legend at WrestleMania. Even legends don't become legends until it's all said and done, he says. He believes Reigns is the one to help him rest. Taker says he will fight to the bitter end, but believes that Reigns can help him rest in peace. And is the only one, he feels, that will treat the dead man's legacy, and if he is the one to carry that honor with respect after he's gone. And he officially challenges Reigns to a match at WrestleMania 30, to which Reigns accepts.
So you're going So you're embracing that WWE universe, comic book, things have, a mythology, based around them.
Why not? Taker's the last one. Yeah. He's the last one of that, and you should treat him as such.
Yeah. So it's this paranormal. I think that's
this
the best word for
paranormal entity that comes back every year for us, right. And even this thing known as the Undertaker must be getting tired.
Right, and he's tired, but he can't. His soul won't let him just give up.
Right.
He has to be defeated.
Right. He has to.
That's like
it's like going out. Either what's that line from 300 that's been tossed throughout history? Come back with your shield or on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that thing.
Right. It's sad in a way. Like it makes you sympathize with the Undertaker.
Absolutely, as you should.
Which I think is interesting because it sort of it sort of brings to note to all the people, how old the Undertaker is. I think it mentions it for the first time in WWE history.
Well, it mentions it without using the word old.
Right, exactly. He's been here a long time.
Yeah.
So it gets that point across without blatantly saying this guy's kind of.
This guy's got a few bad wheels,
Exactly. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So, the next week, go home to WrestleMania. And Ambrose and Rollins attempt to sabotage Reigns by attacking him during his match. I don't know who he's fighting.
He's fighting... Can I pitch?
Sure.
Reigns is fighting...
Come on.
King Kong Bundy.
Sure, whatever. King Kong Bundy makes a surprise appearance.
There you go. Because
right.
he got defeated by Undertaker.
So they come out and try and sabotage it, and they get the better of Reigns. Lights go out, Taker appears. Taker makes a save. They fight off the Shield together, and then they turn. Taker and Reigns do the stare down. Look to the WrestleMania sign. That whole thing. Hopefully, crowd's going nuts by this point. And I don't know how. Taker gets a mic. And he repeats some of last week's sentiments. Not really. Not wasting too much time. But he basically says, I never believed in the Shield. But I believe in you. And if it's not to be, you will be the one to rest in peace. Done.
Yeah.
Done. So now here we are. WrestleMania 30. New Orleans. We got the young guy, Roman Reigns, who's set to be something big. I think he'll be big.
I think he's going to be... I think if given the right character protection and with the machine behind him...
Yeah.
There's no reason why he won't be.
And I feel really strongly about this. I haven't felt this way since Metallica. The guy cannot cut his hair.
Oh, okay.
Don't ever cut your hair, dude.
All right.
Never do it.
All
right. So here we are. WrestleMania 30. We have a match, brawl, craziness, false finishes, the whole 9 yards. We call back to every great thing that Taker's done, from the walking on the ropes to the last ride. We get it all.
Right.
But Taker falls.
So you're ending the streak.
I am ending the streak.
Okay.
With Roman Reigns beating the Undertaker. You got Taker down in the center of the ring.
How's he? How does he? What's the last move?
What's the last thing? Oh,
is it
man.
The spear? Is it the Superman punch?
No. I think what we're gonna do, how I see it is, after false finish, is they're just so groggy, and Reigns gets him with a spear. Boom, 1, 2, kick out. Reigns can't believe it. Taker stumbles to his feet. Roman Reigns goes back in the corner, hits him again. 1, 2, kicks out. Oh my God, I can't do it. And then we just get that thing where the Undertaker can barely stand. He can barely hold his arms up. And he just does the cutthroat thing one more time, and Reigns spears him in half. 1, 2, 3.
Nice.
It's over. So you got Taker in the center of the ring. Lights will go down to that purple, right? That like bluish purple.
Yeah, you know how you have to have Undertaker pinned?
How?
You have to have Reigns.
Oh, good. Yeah, good touch. Good touch. Put him to sleep.
Put his hands over his heart.
Put him to rest.
Yep.
So then the lights go down low, like they always do when Taker wins. We don't put up the
pyrotechnics.
No pyrotechnics. No pyrotechnics. No nothing. It's very somber. We get gongs, one for each of his victories.
Oh.
As Reigns just sits there and watches it, and it gives the people time. They're live, watching at home, to really reflect on what's happening right now.
And the announcers keep their goddamn mouths shut.
Yes, Michael Cole.
Yeah, you let the people.
So
witness this.
At the final gong, the lights go out, and all that's left where Taker was is the urn.
Nice.
And you have Roman Reigns pick up the urn with both hands, very reverently, very respectfully. And you have him just carry it up the ramp. You have him turn towards the people, maybe hold up the urn, or maybe just hold it. You know? Let the people absorb it. And then you have him turn and very solemnly leave. And that is my WrestleMania 30. Now, I would not give Roman Reigns that honor, speaking of backstage stuff, unless you sit the guy down and go, look, we've got this idea for you.
Right.
We do this for you. You're working the next 20 WrestleManias for us. Sign the contract right now. We'll give you all the time you want off, but you are the guy. Well, and I would restart a new streak with Roman Reigns.
This is what I was going to say. That backstage thing that you just brought up is not out of the question, because they had Mark Henry sign a 10-year contract in 1995. Mm-hmm. Or 94, whatever it was that he signed. So, I mean, they signed Bret Hart to a 14-year contract. Mm-hmm. So these long contracts are possible and are out there.
You don't just hand an honor like that to somebody. Right. You sit them down and say, hey, listen, we're going to make it worth your while financially and physically. We're going to take care of you. You're going to be the guy. Because I feel like, coming from the wrestling family that he comes from, there's no better guy to give an honor like that and defending a new streak of your own to someone like that.
And I'm just going to throw in a little idea, because I really like your idea.
Uh-huh.
You bring up on the screen when Roman Reigns is making his exit or whatever it may be.
1-0?
1-0.
I like it.
This way it's a start.
I like it. High five.
It's the start of the...
the Roman Reigns streak.
Yep, the Roman Reigns streak.
And I honestly feel that you should never see the urn again.
Okay.
Yeah, like...
So it doesn't become... We're not saying it becomes a part of Roman Reigns' character. He's not suddenly the Undertaker.
He's not suddenly the Undertaker. He's not spiritual...
dark or anything.
Dark.
He's just a guy.
He's not possessed by the soul of the Undertaker. None of that stuff. The Undertaker is the last of his kind. And he should be treated as such.
Now,
that is it.
Now, would you, on the Raw following or something like that, would you, since you're treating it like this paranormal thing, this thing that Roman Reigns has now, been given control over, is the control over it also this paranormal thing? So would you have Roman Reigns be like, I really don't even remember what happened last night? You know, like something along those lines of
No, I feel like he should know what he did.
Okay.
He should know, and, you know, the whereabouts of the urn will be unknown.
Okay.
You know?
Will he mention that only
he knows what happened to the urn. So
cool.
You could play with it years down the line if you have to.
Right.
But it should be a very, like the night after on Raw, I wouldn't say you do an Undertaker memorial, but it's like a celebration.
There's definitely something. See,
it should be addressed, yes.
Right, and that's something I've always felt about the Undertaker, and I've always thought about. Is part of me kind of hopes that, because he's always been very protective of the character. That's why you never see him, you know, out in WWE things,
right.
You know, addressing the audience in any way outside of character. Until recently with the DVDs, I worry about Taker retiring and us not getting that send off. Besides that,
I feel like that kind of send off would be very respectful to the character while still honoring the character.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But me selfishly as a fan, I want that moment.
You want that thank you Taker moment,
right? That thank you Taker. I mean, I'm sure in your scenario we would get that. You know, there would be a thank you Taker chant and all this stuff, and
maybe you know, the following night on Raw, Reigns brings the urn out and places it in the ring,
right?
As like a little, you know,
and then
pay your respects.
Taker goes off and goes fishing for the rest of his life.
Exactly. Make more babies with Michelle McCool. Do whatever you want to do, bro.
Be an agent.
Be an agent. Whatever. But I feel like that is a great way to honor the character and keep with the character.
And, I mean, yeah, I love your idea, and I think you, in my opinion, you definitely win this round.
Oh, I don't know. Let's leave it up to the people who actually listen.
Well, here's the thing. I like your idea better. Your idea is, I mean, maybe it's the 3 pages of notes, but it seems more fleshed out, you know, and it's that type of campy, well, not campy, but that gimmick, you know,
that very comic book thing,
the comic book that I like, you know, as far as wrestling
because like in terms of character, in terms of dark characters, you know, Bray Wyatt's going to have that for a long time,
right?
You know, Bray Wyatt in many ways is probably going to be the new Undertaker, the guy that the kids are scared of and all that stuff. And, you know, like I've said, the Undertaker is the last of his kind. He really is.
He's the last character.
Yeah.
In WWE. Mm-hmm. I mean, like you said, you got Bray Wyatt, who is a character, but at the same time, he's a real guy. You go down south, you turn on any, you know, public access channel, and there are guys that are spouting off things that sound very similar to what Bray Wyatt is preaching.
They're a little scarier than Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. So there we go.
All right.
We would like your opinions on who you think won this round.
Yes.
And you can tell us down in the comment section below or on Twitter at Let's Book It News. There's a link down there too. Also on Twitter or down in the comment section if you have an idea for a scenario.
Oh yeah, please feel free.
Yeah, that you would like to see us book and, you know, share our brilliant insight on.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how brilliant.
Apparently we're brilliant.
Yeah, according to me. Yeah, leave it down below and we'll maybe address it. So that's gonna do it.
Yes,
for episode 1.
Episode 1 is down, and unlike Star Wars, it didn't suck.
Well, we hope. There was no Jar Jar Binks.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
What do they have to look forward to next time?
Episode 2.
What
do you want to do episode 2?
I don't know.
You know what?
What?
Episode 2.
Okay.
This is what we're going to do.
All right. Give it to me.
Stay tuned for next week, where we will be rebooking the New World Order invasion on the WWF in 2002.
I'm going to inject some poison in it.
I'm going to kill it. I'm going to inject.
Yes. See you all next time.